Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. Everybody got a seat if they want one?
Here's another chair. Something to sit on.
Somebody could take my seat too, because I'm ready to sit on the floor.
I'm fine.
All right. Well, welcome to this performance. It's the final night of the show, and so we've done 3 previous versions in this house in the same way with a different audience every time, except for Taryn. And anyone else seen it before? No, just Sarah. So we've really been on a journey with this project, and we've arrived at the sort of final moments. My name is Roz Cruz. I'm the artist that has been working in Keene as a social practice artist in residence for the last month, and this is a new program organized by Craig Stockwell, who this is also his home, and Sarah Mustin, is that right?
Yeah.
Who's been helping us so much hosting. So anyway, I think we should just start off by seeing if anyone has any questions about what they saw, concerns that may have arisen.
Did you know that you were going to do a theater piece when you came?
Well, I have always wanted to make a performance in a house.
Oh.
And I've also always resisted making anything related to theater.
Oh.
And so in this case, I started thinking about a reenactment and thinking about what it would mean to reenact family dinners from my life and turn them into some sci-fi version where everyone is positive and supportive and appreciative.
Was it like that at your dinner table?
It was not. This person has known me since I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
And so she could probably speak to it a little bit.
Well, I could only speak to the positive, but I do understand that changes.
And so that's my answer to your question.
So yes, you were thinking about a theater piece?
I really don't know. Do you guys think this is theater?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gray area.
Gray area. This is a real actress.
Hi, I'm Gray.
And I know, you're also a real actor. The other adults are not actors.
She's like, I'm waiting!
And I think that was really important to me, is that it's sort of sitting at least slightly ajar to a theater piece, because I wanted to work with people who don't have that experience, mostly because I don't have that experience, and want to sort of be on the same playing field. But yeah, it's fine. It's a theater piece. Yeah. Other questions for me or for the other people, other performers?
Why would you say it's not a theater piece?
Well, mainly because there's this real slippage between reality and these characters that we've devised. And I would say a lot more of it is not devised. There's no script, there's no real defined characters. It's kind of a mixture of our real life and who we built based on interviews that I did with people in Keene. So I interviewed about 20 people about their accomplishments, and then distilled that into these about 20 accomplishments that the people in the room who are currently the performers could choose from. And it started with doing these interviews and meeting different people, and that built interest in becoming a performer. In some cases, in the case of these two, they came to an open casting call. And it's sort of, I guess part of why I don't think of it as theater is there's not a lot of artifice to it. It's really, and I think the set is just like someone's home, right? And there's this, I'm mostly interested in reality. So I guess that's why, but like I said, don't know much about theater, so maybe I'm completely wrong.
So is the play different every night?
Very much.
Different characters?
Same actors.
Characters, but
Yes and
different
no.
stories
Same
to the
characters.
characters.
Yes and no.
Can you speak to that? What did
Yeah,
you notice?
you saw it twice.
I noticed the same general flow. And so when you went for the candles, I'm like, okay, I know what's next. But there were some things that were spoken that were very, very different. Like Valerie, the piece that you spoke tonight felt very different.
Mm-hmm.
And Margot, I don't remember your real name, Gray.
Yeah.
Gray. So I think the piece tonight about sort of the depression, I don't remember that degree of intimacy 2 nights ago. There were some shifts,
Mm-hmm.
but the container was the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. We had I think you're a great director,
Thank you.
so you could do this repeatedly and get some permutations that look like theater, more like theater. But we had some ground rules. We really had to, each of us had the responsibility to elevate the characters.
To elevate each other?
Yeah, to elevate, you know, we played certain games that you didn't get to say no, you didn't shift the subject, you know, with improv, like one of the real rules is that you don't just do a reversal on someone, it's like an honor thing. You take what they say and then you move it along further, and that's what we've done all of the performances that we've done, and it goes in a different direction because somebody's going to say something and they've never said that before, and it's going to go this way and it's going to go that way. So it's really the fact that it's scored, like you said, gives us a container, but each night it's going a different way. It's going to look different.
Yeah, it was very different
Yeah.
tonight. That's right.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed just being sort of in various stages, what parts of, that there's a layering that is, I find very interesting because each layer is very conscious. That something's actually happening between people at every layer. And so that I partook in the interviews, and you know, that was a meaningful experience for me. And it was also there was a really human moment between Roz and myself as well. And so then that, you know, that got then spread out, and then these other people took something, but meanwhile Roz had actually just written down certain lines and drawn pictures and had her own way of recording and experiencing that. And then each night, having watched this, you know, first of all of the pre-talking that happened, so I saw a bunch of that too, and so it was obviously an experience for everyone here, and you know, and every day new aspects got talked about, and then whoosh, spontaneously some other thing happened. So that I just think that each person who came in contact with you, Ross, had a different and an important experience all by themselves, or with each other, and also so that you wove a circle there.
I bonded with Roz immediately when she showed up at my house. My 12-year-old chocolate lab was just wagging his tail, and then he went and had a seizure.
Right in the foyer.
Right in the.
As I walked in the door, it's my fault. I was like, no.
Well, what was wonderful about it is the two of us were just on either side of him, just encouraging him on, and it was like no drama, no humans taking away the, you know, because I think sometimes when things happen to other people or other beings, you tend to think about how this is for me, but clearly this was a moment when two of us were 100% supporting this animal through a seizure, and I just said, this is my kind of gal. I just felt like, wow.
Yeah, and I had a similar sort of feeling towards Valerie, and I had gone there just to do this sort of interview that I was doing with lots of people, and then the relationship that emerged from that made us both feel like you should perform in the piece, right? And so that was the first person who agreed to be in the piece, Valerie. And then Craig
I said
joined.
I'd be the waiter.
He didn't quite see, he couldn't see into my brain yet. And when he said, I'll be the waiter. Yeah, when I heard waiter, I thought, oh yeah, that's
Walter
a role
waiter.
in the show. You're the waiter. But then we had, people joining in. So, was there a question in there?
Question. I wanted to ask about the names. Like,
I was just
did
thinking
you
that too.
each choose your own? I thought that they all fit you so well.
Yeah. Evan, do you want to talk about it? Because I misspell your name everywhere.
Yeah, that's fine. I like your question. That is a really good question. I chose the name Emmett, and of course my name is spelled Emit, but I thought, oh, that's nice, because you can get in and whatever. So I think that was a nice sort of foible. And my last name was supposed to be Pickle, but I really wanted to sort of promulgate Emma Pickler. And if you don't know Emma Pickler, she was a physician, now dead, from Austria. She was really, I think, spot on with child development.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked two subjects for my character. One was, I'm a child development theorist, I believe, and also, for me, carpentry is one of those basic things that if you can build something, electrify it, plumb it, have a sewer system, you can do all of it. I'm thinking, wow, I wish my kids, I have 3 children, all could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would feel like I could send them any place in the world and they could make it, just by those skills.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll just add one thing. I built a yurt with my kids. And I just came across pictures today and I said, wow, I really did build something. And we went to, I went to one of the lumber yards just south of here, and I picked up scrap. So I didn't buy a kit. And I picked up all kinds of scrap and got nuts and screened because I knew I didn't want to get little mosquitoes in the camera. And whenever I think about mosquitoes, and then I'll be done, I think about Lewis and Clark. And can you imagine out west? And I'm thinking these people were eaten by mosquitoes. I'm surprised they had any blood left. But, so anyway, I wanted the foundational stuff that Emma Pickler can give, like Montessori or Rudolf Steiner or Joseph Chilton Pierce and others. And then I wanted to actually have that for my family.
I love it. Seems like there's something like aspirational in the names and choosing the
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
There's something about taking on a character and as well with the accomplishments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Because they're sort of,
each person got, like Roz picked the jumping over the horse
Right,
accomplishment, which
Jumping
came
over the horse?
yeah, I mean,
She could easily do that
which came from an interview.
Right.
And then I developed a character based on that. I had 2 cards, 2 accomplishments. One was becoming more adventurous, and the other was jumping over the horse. And so then I was like, who is this person? Like, who is this person that's doing those things? And in some ways, I, Roz Cruz, relate to that.
Yeah.
But in other ways, I'm Emily Trust. And I have a whole backstory. And so each of us developed and devised our own backstories according to like what we thought and what we felt. But over the last 4 days, I will say I learned a lot more about each of my table mates than I had the whole time of rehearsals. And I think they learned about me, and I learned about myself as Emily Trust and as Roz Cruz. So
Yeah, wonderful.
complex character development there.
I chose my grandmother, Minerva Fisher, and she was a real hardworking homesteading
I choose my
person.
name from
So.
my favorite movie.
Minerva?
No, Arietti.
Oh, you chose.
What's the movie? Arietti.
Ariel.
That's the name.
Wow.
And the main character.
What about you, Gray? How'd you choose your name?
I have we have a friend, a family friend, who's the mom
Me.
no, not of her, but of one of her friends. And I don't know, it came to me, and then when we were talking about names, I had been thinking about her, because one of her other kids had said something funny that I was thinking about. And so I was just like, I'll do Margot. It's a pretty name.
Work.
Yeah.
What other thoughts, queries? Yeah.
I thought it was amazing, and I definitely got all sorts of feelings in my body as you guys were going through your chats. In the beginning, I had a lot of happy and loving experience going on. Like, I felt like you guys were just amping each other up. This is so good. This is what we should all be doing, and it kind of felt connected to everyone in the room. And then I was just totally twisted when you guys started talking louder and doing it a little bit more like insanely. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was like physically I was reacting in a very amazing way. And then you guys calmed down, and it was so funny. Amazing. And then the dancing experience, being able to participate in that was so much fun. You're screaming the words across the kitchen or the dining room is hilarious, and it just felt really wholesome and meaningful. And then ending, coming back to the seats and just switching back into normacy, it really made me feel like out of sorts. I was like, this is really dynamic. It's all over the place, and it makes sense all at the same time. And I loved it. I hope you can replicate it in a way, because I think this was very special. And
Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
Very nice comments.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So just very quickly, when we were here Thursday, somebody in the audience talked about the size of groups. And I'm going to remember the numbers 50 or 300 or something like that. And so Georgia, when you were just speaking, what happened for me is, because I've lived in Keene for, I don't know, 2016, a while. And as you were speaking, I was thinking that there are many people in this room that I've gotten to know since I've lived here, but a sense of community is something I'm experiencing through this experience, and it's very powerful.
Yeah, I heard you guys say things about people in this room, and I don't know you all, but I know a few of you, and I was like, oh, who are they talking about? I just I could feel it. It was very, very good. I think that relationship to the community was vital. You can't do that without being here, doing what you've done. Definitely.
I felt you really captured the experience of living here. How many conversations have we all had about how amazing it is here, right? We love it. We talk about all the amazing things, and this is the best place on earth to live, and I sort of felt that, and then, when it shifted, I felt like it really did go into, there are people who do amazing things in this room, probably every single one of us, right? And then, but yeah, we go into dark places, we have so much self-doubt, it felt like the experience of living here. It felt like I went through the whole gamut, but I felt like that's a very familiar, those were very familiar conversations. They didn't feel made up. It felt like the rah-rah that we all feel about this community, and we're so in love with it and the people that are doing things in it, and yet those people are people.
It's in living in those roles for 3 weeks or so, and I am not ordinarily a sort of overwhelmingly positive, supportive person, and David don't like me. It starts to get into you. you start to actually be, and this thing of, the sarcastic comments are coming into your house and into your head, the negative one, just it goes that way rather than this way, and so it's an interesting exercise to think that, as actors, as performers, in doing that, there was actually a rippling effect.
Well, it's funny you say that, because one of the texts, I was reading a lot of books while I was making this, and one of them is called Play Your Way Sane. That one's the most related to this, really related to the piece and the fabric of the piece, but other things influenced it too. And it's written by a improv artist who went through all the traditional improv routes and then ended up going to get a PhD in something that I don't really remember what he said. Writing, something like that. But what he writes this book about is how improv games can actually improve your real life. and using the rules and thoughts that emerge from that kind of play can impact your way of moving through the world, and having negative thoughts go out the other side. And so it's been actually very healing for me just going through this process and really paying close attention to what that book said, and then bringing it to our group and using it as a way to like bond and develop an improv relationship with each other, but then also sort of reflect back on like, well, what do we think about these things, and you know, where are we at? So
I ordered that book
that
today.
book, you
Yeah.
did. It's worth a read. I'll say there's 125 games that are from improv that you can use.
So, well, I was just going to say we can break down and converse on the way up, but a couple of important things. At 3 o'clock tomorrow at Hannah Grimes, people are going to gather there, and we're going to have a conversation about how did the performance go, how did the residency go, and what kind of future does the residency idea have. That we called this a pilot program, and the idea is to explore and see where we might go from here. And the programs here, you should all take one, and in there's a list of all the people we have to thank.
Yeah. Question. You wrote in the message the wear yellow if you wanted to participate. What was that in relation to?
Well, it was actually originally there was going to be a possibility for people to sit at the table with us, and then I left it because I was kind of curious, like what percentage of a group
So who's got yellow?
would have yellow.
He thinks it's not really yellow. Because I didn't hear that message.
And mustard.
Well, the
I was like,
problem
oh,
with
you
yellow
were.
is nobody
But it wasn't.
I was not.
You weren't.
I was
yeah.
trying to like.
You were
not
like,
take
Because
it.
I've been looking at you all night.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna get in there.
No, it's orange.
Yeah, but I actually like the surprise that it got people like thinking, and actually someone ran into me in the streets and was like, I'm thinking about wearing yellow, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna wear yellow. And I was like, I love that. Whatever that is, that's why I put it in there. It's just the kind of, being intentional in different unexpected ways.
Great.
And I think the idea was also, it faded because we realized that we might, with the short amount of time that we practiced and played together, that we might not be able to give a new person the attention that they deserve, because it might just have felt like we were ignoring those people that were at the table. We would have expected a lot from people coming in without having gone through the process.
Might be interesting if you were to do a series of these with the same entire group.
Yeah.
And begin to include people in different ways.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of things that could be iterated from this. And one interesting thing to know is, like, we developed this whole project. I've been working with Craig since July to sort of do site visits here and coming here and thinking about Keene. But, around like mid-September, I was like, Craig, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And it was like a tiny shell of an idea. And then I got here October 1st and had decided, like the night before, this is the structure that I want to do. I set the dates of the performances like that first week, knowing like I don't really know what's going to happen, but I trust myself, I trust my process, and something will happen. So my point is, we had a very short amount of time, and we only spent 10 hours rehearsing before dress rehearsal. So if we were to, get to do something bigger, and I would love to think about ways to incorporate audiences, I'd also be interested in doing other versions of it in other towns with different actors. So it's just full of possibility at this point, I think. That's great. Yeah.
What is it like doing a social practice project in a place that you are not from?
Yeah, this is a common topic in the field of social practice, which field of social practice kind of refers to artists who typically make like ephemeral projects that are rooted in communities and or in a museum that's connected to a community adjacent, whatever. Community, the word itself, should be deeply interrogated under all circumstances. So my answer to your question is it's complicated and often referred to as like parachuting in. Like an artist comes from some other place, parachutes into the town, and sort of like puts their vision of what should happen out on the town, and the town participates. And I think for me, one of the things I'm interested in is really small groups of people, because that could be a community. When you say like the, democratic community of Keene, there's like millions of people that probably have all different kinds of voices and dissonance. But if I'm like, I'm going to work with 5 people that are going to become a community through this process, it starts to feel less like I'm an intruder and more like I'm a participant observer, or somebody who's like, there's an exchange. It's not just like I'm coming in, making a thing you can all participate in, and then it's sort of like not fun. You do it for like 5 seconds, you like put your name on the board and that's your participation, and then you leave. And I leave, and I have this like project that I made, and I got paid for, and whatever, and you all just sort of dissipate. But in this case, my goal is to make projects where there's a mutual exchange and relationships form, even though they might not be like lifelong relationships. They form, and we all take something away, and it's symbiotic in that way.
I never thought of it.
I have to say that for me, people said, well, I have an Airbnb, so people wanted to come to the performances. I said, well, they all sold out within like 3 hours. There's only 15 people at each show. And I sort of explained that this was a work of art. I considered this a work of art. That you were the artist that was painting the canvas, and we were willingly being your, I felt under your, I felt really under your, you were guiding the process. You, with each exercise that we did along the way, we learned about how to support each other, and it was an amazing experience just to gain new tools. I felt like I gained a lot of tools from the process.
That's amazing. Anyone else want to talk about their experience in the process or project?
I was really happy to participate, and I learned a lot. And I felt like you were a good director, and you listened to us, which I think is really important as we listen to each other. And my vision, I thought about this for years, about could the world be as much fun if everybody were nice to each other? And of course, my answer is unequivocally yes. It doesn't change all of the brilliance and fun and all of the different ways and varieties. But you don't have to be mean to have, although, say, the Buddha might say you need to have a contrast. I have to think about that. I had a lot of fun, learned a lot, feel better about myself. And I think I don't have to give a degree, but the audience participation, just like this evening, is really enriching. Really enriching.
I'll just very quickly say that at the beginning of your effort, I really grappled with what is social practice art. And I feel like I have an inkling of an understanding as a result of this experience, and it's very intriguing and exciting.
Great. And I will say I have a particular brand of social practice art. Social practice art is a huge landscape of so many things happening. My particular interests are working with people in thinking about pedagogy, like how do we learn new things, how do we do things together, and I'm not necessarily trying to make big scale social change. I think about social change on a little tiny baby scale, personally. So
You also are participating in it.
I am also I'm
Which I
very,
think is
very centered.
honest of you.
I'm centrally vulnerable in the process. Yeah.
And
that's important.
In a sense, everybody here is participating in it, because this is like, we're not sitting down at a dinner table, but we're sitting in this, it seems like an extension of what we did sitting at the table.
Totally. So it is 7:08. I know that the thing said we'd be done at 7, so if anyone wants to stay and talk, we're here. But if you have time, you need to go, feel free to go. Take a program with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really? You didn't tell me any of that. I'm not worried. Just yellow.
Well, I wouldn't do that.
No, it's not orange. It's not yellow. Nobody's wearing
I just so you have yellow on your scarf.
crazy figuring out parking in America.
Yeah.
Well, the bad news is
Kind of over it. So off of Island Street, off to the
Is that because they're on the other side of the earth and like they're different?
Nothing's warm and dusty ground. Smiling faces all around. Our dinner table.
Oh, where's my orange?
Oh, right here.
Dinner
Just peeling it. I ate a whole lot. Oh, David.
So good to see you. Walter? Nice to meet you, Walter.
Can I offer you a drink? We have beer, seltzer, or a few hard ciders.
I think I want a seltzer.
A seltzer. That's easy, right there. There you go.
Thank you so much.
Same.
Do we go in there?
Yep. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Walter. I'm Walter. Beer. Marianne,
Seltzer.
Seltzer.
Thank you.
I can't drink either one of those. Can I just get tap water?
You can. Let me get you a cup.
Sorry to be bothersome.
Always one in the crowd.
No, it's one of the front. Yeah, high maintenance. Oh, look at the
There you
sunset.
go. And the black faucet.
So nice to see you. I haven't seen you since. But it's really good to see you. Holy moly. I got a parking ticket and I hate parking tickets. It's $15.
Parking?
Yeah, but thank goodness I was in my friend's car, so I think he's gonna have to pay.
That's great. Yeah. Last time I got a parking ticket, I didn't get a day.
So is that your house where she was staying?
They let it go. This is great. We have a great meeting to do stuff.
Wait a sec. You
No,
need
this must be his. It was Beth. She's from Al. Beth is from Al.
Thank you.
People are like,
Fabulous dinner.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys see Don?
Walter, I just feel like you should drink more water.
Yeah, well, talk to you another time.
No, I think Walter's on water restriction. He drank too much last week.
No, Walter,
Yeah.
how many gallons did you drink?
How many gallons of water?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was, doing this workout thing, and you're supposed to drink 72 liters of water a day.
72 liters?
So I had 60.
I think you
yeah.
wrote directions for
That's why I see the water truck pulling up to your place.
Did you see the other truck pulling out the other way?
Funny. No, I missed that one though. But I'm
You know,
glad.
that's a strange but amazing thing to do. Like, and I've actually been thinking about how, like, plenty of people do, like, extraordinary things every day.
That is so true.
There's a great example.
Sometimes you don't
For
even.
example, like drinking all that water.
Yeah, drinking all that
Yeah.
water.
But,
And you
no,
never
that's-
hear about these people.
But that was a joke, I don't drink that much water.
I was gonna
I
say-
think-
It was
I
a
think-
joke?
Yeah, I think,
Wow.
I was going to say it belongs in the Guinness's Book of Records.
Yeah.
but what you're talking about is
Anybody want some bread?
really wonderful.
Yeah.
And
So many
I gotta
people.
go fix that stove.
I know, I
It's
was
gonna-
at Walter's.
it's gonna- And
It's
look at that
it's crazy.
sunset. Did you see something?
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's actually really
Wow,
great.
wow, it's really nice. Speaking of amazing things, I just have to tell you, when I was late grade school and in high school, played hockey almost every day in the wintertime, and a man in the neighborhood came and made sure that we who were playing hockey shoveled the rink, started the fire in our place where we got to keep warm. And he wasn't paid, he just showed up every day to help the young people in the neighborhood. Mr.
Oh.
Gorillo, yeah. What
Mr. Gorilla?
No, no.
Sorry, he must have
Well, we
got-
could change
he
his
must have
name.
gotten
He's now,
teased a lot.
Well, I don't
Gorilla,
even remember
gorilla.
that. Everybody respected him so much because he was
Yeah.
like right there, showed up,
Yeah.
helped the teenagers, and he made sure we behaved. We couldn't use foul language, though I loved using foul language.
Oh, really?
We
Tell
knew we
us
couldn't-
more.
No, I'm not going to tell you more.
Mm, sure.
Anyway, one of those unsung heroes, like there are the communities are full of them.
Unsung heroes are a really special part of society.
Mhm.
And there's always a place for everyone.
You think?
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, absolutely. There always is.
Mm-hmm.
Always a place.
I think there must be some law of physics that could be worked out to
Figure that
one out.
Oh yeah, it's called gravity. We all kind of gravitate
equals
towards
MC
each
squared.
other and try to support each other.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And when you fall down, there's Emmett to pick you up.
Yeah, right, that's right. And of course, that's a reminder. Yeah. Yeah, that's really important. Well, of course, just knowing you people, I know how many wonderful things are done within the community. It's
Yeah.
really, and of course, not everybody I know at this table really important in the community. I'm sure that's the same for you too.
Mm-hmm.
Last dinner we had here, you were wanting to ask this guy a question about, like, it was Rachel something.
Yeah, I thought I wanted to ask Walter about some of his past work and also, related to even some of your present work with Jonathan Daniels. But I know in the past you were doing some research with regards to, I think, Rachel Carson and Sandra Steinberger.
Of the Silent Spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really where I started out in my undergraduate studies, but moved on to Jonathan Daniels because I'm from Keene. He was from Keene.
Yeah.
He was. Do you know about Jonathan Daniels? Yeah.
A little bit, but not that much. Actually, there was an article about you in the paper, and some of that was there, so I did read that.
Yeah. Well, just briefly, he was from Keene. He was Episcopal seminarian studying, and he went to during the civil rights crisis in the early '60s. He went down to Mississippi and was martyred by protecting a young girl who was somebody aimed a gun at, and it's a huge impact on our community here in terms of giving this community a story that we all feel. I mean, the kids in school hear about Jonathan Daniels, right? And,
Most of them end up going to Jonathan Daniels School.
They did.
Yeah.
They closed it.
Serious.
They
Yeah.
did?
Yeah, it's a daycare center now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I've
that's
heard
at
about
least
that.
that's that. Yeah.
Wow.
Every time I think about that, I almost want to cry to think that he stepped in front of a bullet or gun,
Mhm.
which was amazing courage.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would like to hear some of the toasts that you have in mind. We sort of just
didn't have anything in mind,
we
but
just,
happy
we
to-
were sort of just toasting to Jonathan Daniels.
Yeah.
Should we start there?
Okay. Well, just looking out and seeing that sunset, and I've had a hard day. It's a hard week. I don't know about you all, but just things from outside and from around me just keep weighing on me, and so glad that we are able to come together tonight and have a dinner because I just feel so supported by having you all here and the sense of accomplishments that so many of you have had and are doing, and I can feel very discouraged, very pointless. You guys, we don't know each other that well, but there's times when I just find it very hard to get going, and so nice to have you all here tonight.
Well, the only way we can get to know each other better is if we do this sort of thing.
Yeah. And that's, I tend to, as a scholar and all those things, I tend to try to think I can work it all out on my own.
Yeah, and I'm free on Fridays now, so we might be able to
have this
make
dinner.
this like
A weekly?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I love that
Well,
idea.
I think
I have a concert soon, and I have a lot of
yeah.
work soon. so I might not be able to make it.
Yeah, but you come on. Every time
You'll
you
be
come here, you know how much it
come and
means to you.
We love it when you're here.
Yeah, but if you can't make it sometime, we'll certainly miss you and wait for your next.
We can do
time here.
FaceTime. We can do a FaceTime.
Oh, yeah. You
I
can have a
really-
little
I-
computer with a
Oh, I
table
hate
of
that. I
food in
hate
front
that
of it.
FaceTime.
Anyway, I want to direct a toast to each of you actually, and Margot. I think the thing that really stands out for me is, as a young person in high school, to have the vision to understand something about the political system, and to go to Concord, to bring the petitions, and we'll probably hear more about it later, but to work to change the system in a really wonderful way. So here's to Margot.
Here's
Wow.
Margot.
To Margot.
Fabulous.
Really good work.
Really good work.
The smile
Nice.
maker.
Yeah. And Emmett, I'm just going to leave it at you dress so beautifully. It's
Thank
just,
you.
I mean, blue on blue. Who would have guessed?
Yeah. Well, everything I'm wearing is blue, I have to tell you.
Okay.
I really
Underwear?
like- yeah, I think so. But we could check if you
No,
actually.
No. I'm good. I'm good.
Well, Arietta, you are good. And to me, I know you've got great accomplishments on that world right now and the concerts and all. But having watched you for years and having seen your sense of confidence grow from, you were a good kid, you were an okay kid and everything like that, but I could tell that you just weren't real sure about, what you were doing here. And now you're so sure. So here's to you.
Yes.
Ariette.
Ariette.
Good job.
And Minerva. The sense of home we have here tonight, sitting around this table, and how you prepare things and how you bring something into. And one of the things that I feel so strongly about is, big accomplishments, little accomplishments. What are those? You live in the realm of what is apparently fairly small, but there's a consistency and an effort and a love in that is so wonderful. Here's to you.
Minerva, what a pleasure.
Minerva.
Are you trying to get me? And Emily.
Oh, yes.
Yes. You just bring such positive energy, and there's a sense of, I've been really afraid of a number of things that we've, gotten going and talking about and things like that, and there's something you bring that just has a sense of, we can do this. And I know it has to do with your horses and all, but I think it's a larger sense. So,
Thank you.
here's to you.
Thank you.
Emily,
Thank
what
you.
a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ariette, just, Ariette, I keep getting it wrong, sorry.
I'm like, do you even know me anymore?
It's just, Ariette sounds, because it sounds like Aria, and you're a singer, you're a performer.
Yeah.
And how you, and here you are, you're just a kid at the table, it seems like, although you're 15 now, but it's,
Maybe 15? Well, I mean, I'm flattered, but...
am I wrong?
No!
No.
10!
You're 10?
10!
You seem so much older.
She's nearly a tween.
Wow. But to, go out in the world and get on a stage in front of 1,000 people, 2,000 people.
Millions.
Millions!
Walter, millions of people.
I'm not real familiar with pop art. Oh, is it pop art or is it pop?
Pop. Just
K-pop.
He's a
K-pop.
pop star.
Well, anyway, it's an amazing thing. Here's to you.
Ariette, every time I see you now, I think of when you were in your baby diapers, walking around, singing to Taylor Swift's latest album, and here you are, just out there on stage, looking confident, wearing your beautiful hairstyles, all your backup dancers. It's just amazing.
And you got to meet Taylor Swift as well. So.
I did. It was like a split second. I was like, oh my god!
She was probably like, oh my god!
At school, I used to have a teacher that his name was Taylor, and on his birthday, we made him say shake it up, and all of us were like, yes, and we laughed really hard.
Oh.
It's now his new nickname.
And I love how you wear your art. Let me see those legs. Usually they have all sorts of colors
I'm wearing
on
ripped
them.
jeans
Paint
right now.
splatters. It's everywhere.
Well, I think what's equally important is, I remember when you were afraid to go into a phone booth and have a conversation with someone you didn't know. Of course, I would be too, what am I saying? But I remember the times when you just were really hard for you to come to a room and be present. So you just became this person with confidence, which I am maybe still working on. And lots of us work on confidence for any number of venues or things that we want to do. So I want all my kids to have the confidence that I see you've grown into.
Speaking of confidence, I think that it would take a lot of confidence to get like on a horse and like try and do this really hard jump, especially after falling off 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you, Emily.
Me figuring out how to become a true horse jumper, and I think I've arrived. You all came to my very first show where I jumped my horse. Jasper and I became one, and we jumped right over the hurdle, and I was pretty proud. But I would say the biggest thing is that I just am overall more adventurous. You know, I want to go rock climbing with Margot. Go over to the Moldova when you do your research. I want to go with you there. Just want to try all these new things. So
You could try being a backup dancer.
I will try anything once. Now I know.
And here's to
Thank
Emily.
you.
Emily.
Oh.
Way to go.
Well, so I have this going on, whatever, kind of boring, but what you've been doing for years is building this incredible, beautiful family who I feel so dear and near to.
I'm so glad.
Your children are so important to me, and watching you all sort of take on this new project of building a house. It's so remarkable. And I can't wait to hear more about the skylights. You know I love skylights.
I know.
So.
Well, they tried to make the whole ceiling glass, actually, but we decided just for structural things to make skylights. Just like with my family, I wanted to have a nice, strong foundation. And they all agreed to help build this house. And they, with some inspiration from Minerva, actually, well, her house is beautiful and her gardens and all of that. And I have a friend named Bruno who helped me to design things. Well, yeah, Bruno's great. And just to build this place, and with my children, we've had arguments. I've sent them to dangerous kind of construction things where we all have our fingers and toes, and we're everybody's sort of growing again. I think in confidence and just this kind of sense of that we can do it. But I want my hats off.
And what I've seen is that you have a methodical mind, and that you know what your next steps are every single day.
It's almost
and
automatic.
Tenacity is.
Boy, I think that's so important in so many things. Thank you for that. But yeah, I kind of got all these things lined up in my head. And some people think that I don't have them lined up, but I do. And I have to remind my spouse, no, I thought about all this.
Trust me.
Yeah, right, trust me. But what's in my head, some of it came from you. And thank you so much. Just because of what you created. I said, wow. Not that I said, if she can do it, I can do it. I said, what she did is magnificent. And if I can copy some of that in another place, I'd be so proud. So thank you for all of the work you did and all the thought you put into things.
Cheers to Minerva.
Yeah, cheers to
It's
Minerva.
amazing.
Again, cheers to Minerva. Thank you.
I love all the quilts at your house. If I could just wrap up in all the quilts, that'd be so cozy.
Winter's coming.
Nice comment. Yeah, beautiful quilts.
Oh, I forgot to put yogurt in the soup.
Oh, here's yogurt.
Oh yeah, we've
about
been
done.
dolloping. Oh.
Yeah.
By the way, who
One
made the
final.
soup?
I think it was Sarah.
You.
And dropped it off.
Oh, it was Walter.
Walter made the soup.
Oh,
Yeah.
Walter, you did it. I got some help. I'm
Yeah, but you are Walter.
Fishing for a compliment. Classic Walter.
Wow.
Really good soup, Walter. I don't think I've
We
ever had
love
better
it.
soup.
We love it.
And I would like to toast Margot, because Margot is a famous person in my household. My mother, you're my mother's strongest, greatest hero for getting dental care for people on Medicaid. what a difference it's made to know that she can get her teeth fixed without breaking the bank, and in most cases people don't really have the money to do it, so they don't get to even have that option. But just your smile is what it leads the way for you. It opens doors. It just there's a lot more smiles going on in the Monadnock region because of you.
Yeah.
And so
People keeping their mouth shut
I have a
because they're
question.
embarrassed.
How did you, what inspired you to do it?
It was just something that I never thought about it before, but it's really only just one of the many steps that it's going to take me to get to hopefully maybe where Walter is, like with that Fulbright that you got recently. That's huge. Like you're gonna where are you going again? Morocco. Oh my God! And you're going to.
I wondered.
And that's just that's a huge accomplishment. Very, very. Yeah. Like I can't even wrap my head around it because I look up to you so much, and it's on this giant pedestal. So I would toast to you, man.
Yeah.
Like
Toast
that's
to Walter.
amazing.
Can I toast to Walter?
Hopefully,
Toast
Yeah.
to yourself.
Walter.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's how we do it around here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing all these different toasts and all the appreciation we have for each other and the accomplishments that everyone is working towards all the time, it makes me feel so energized. I don't know about you guys.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely. I just
The energy is just through the roof.
I'm just so amazed by you doing all these things, and you're just walking and building and no danger of the things falling, and you're and the family and taking care of the family at the same time as the building going on, and it's just going up and it's going up and it's going up and out
I love that answer. I think you'll get both. I think you're gonna get them all.
Well, I want to be when, if I ever, want to break from doing music, then I want to, be a vet.
a vet.
A vet.
Wow.
A vet.
That's a great idea.
You can take care of Emily's
Amazing.
horse.
I'm wearing the pajamas. I ride a hot potato. No, I can't hear you. You're on the top of the road. I got some wild life. With your conscience, I wrestle with your hunger.
weather today. Has anyone else noticed?
Yeah, it was beautiful. I got some painting done and some other work done on the house. I thought this is the day to do it.
I planted garlic.
You did?
Yeah.
I gotta get over and see it.
Yeah. I haven't thought of.
I keep thinking about, like, this time from, it keeps coming back to me. Like, there's this, a couple years ago, I went down into this deep, deep hole of just pessimism. And it's taken me these full 2 years to get back to that, to get back to how I am now, to get back to any kind of normalcy emotionally. And I remembered the other day that one of the things that really helped me a lot was friends and you guys. And I know, like, for just until about a couple months ago, I felt like I didn't have enough. I didn't feel like I was content with where I was. I was just doing okay emotionally, but knowing where I wanted to go was not something that I thought I'd ever really have the luxury of knowing. And then I met you at the supermarket because you were wearing that like sequins pink skirt, and I was like, that's a really cool skirt. I should go talk to that person. And then I talked to you, and then we became like best friends in what, like 2 months?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like years. It feels like my entire life has led up to knowing you all. And I honestly, I don't know what I would do without this connection that you've helped me build and helped me be able to build. And
Margot, I just want you to know that you will never have to have that feeling again of having no one or nothing, or an idea that you wouldn't want to be here anymore, because we all are here for you. We love you, and there's just always a phone. There's always a phone in anyone's pocket. You can call us. You'll have to memorize my phone number. I know it's hard, but thank you for sharing that, because I know I've also been in very, very deep holes before, and it's something that you don't want to talk about with people. I don't want people to know. I'd much rather than focus on my horse jumping than any other kind of feelings that you just don't want to share. Mm-hmm.
But just being so vulnerable enables us to be vulnerable. And that's where the sweet spot is. That's where new ideas emerge and where we change the world. So thank you for being so tender and
thank you
letting us see where it hurts.
You played a really, really big part. And like that one time that you let me stay over, because my parents were fighting and I had nowhere else to go, and you were just like, just come stay at my house.
You have such a warm and inviting house all the time.
No one else had showed me that just immediate, unquestionable kindness before. And it really meant a lot to me, and I keep thinking about it, and I keep meaning to
bring it up to you and thank you for that.
Thank
So.
you.
I want to be a contrarian, and I totally love what you said. But I know for me, and I'm quite a bit older than you.
Yeah.
But
Put a little salt in this paper.
just to know that you can come out of holes, which I've been in, and then out of, and then a little bit in a hole, and though the overall progress I think is better or good. But anyway, I really appreciate what you said.
I was thinking about that song, and there's a line in there that says, "Things fall apart, it's scientific," which I suppose it's maybe reassuring a little bit that it's scientific.
Where did
I
you
guess-
hear that song? It seems slightly familiar.
Yeah, weird. And, but, you know, I carry all the time this feeling that things are going to fall apart.
I'm not gonna fall apart.
We get to be safe havens for each other. We get to spread it out to each of us, and each of us gets to spread it out farther. We're going to create a sane society.
Oh, yeah.
Starting right at this table.
Same.
I love that. I'm gonna end this on that note. Let's go get some dessert.
Dessert?
Sounds good.
Yes, I love dessert.
We have dessert just right in this room over here.
Oh,
You
good.
all are welcome to come with us.
Yes,
and
come
have
with us.
dessert. Come right
Actually,
away. It's very
follow
urgent.
us.
It's urgent.